Sahana Bhavatu, Sahano Bhunattu, Sah Veeryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaktam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om. In the last class, we saw Gurudev speak about meditation. I shall just read the last paragraph in my book, the page number 156, before the paragraph beginning with halt the mind. Just one para before that. The longer the interval that one can create between the moments he has stopped chanting and the moment when the first thought current enters, the more shall one experience the positive quality and vitality of the seemingly empty existence. The longer the interval, the more one shall experience the positive quality and vitality. Interval between moments he has stopped chanting, one has stopped, the mind has stopped chanting, and before another thought enters. So in between this, there is a gap. In this gap, you find the quality and vitality of existence. With reference to the endless thought currents and their non-stop rumbling disturbances, the mental atmosphere at this moment is empty. But with reference to the positive spirit and the life in the spirit, this state is not an empty non-existence, but it is one full, all full, paripurna sat, paripurna existence. So to come to simply remain as paripurna sat is the aim of meditation. Now we shall see further, halt the mind. In the thick of life, in the workaday world, we are ever called upon to face problems, and in these days of acute competition, every moment raises a new challenge to be solved by us. A smart young man has to pour out his best at all times in order to build up his lifestyle, and later on, he has to maintain the very lifestyle that has been raised by him. Both these need constant vigilance and meaningful self-application. It all means heavy expenditure of his mental resources and a steady drain upon his intellectual stamina. This can be exhausting and weakening unless he regularly replenishes the brain drain and replaces the mental wastage. So you see, this is Yoga Kshema. To get what we want and then to retain what we. What happens in the struggle, everyday life? We see how it's a cost we are paying. Mental peace. Hmm? And this is why you see more and more in today's life, people are exhausted and tired with their everyday work. So we need to see how to replenish this brain drain and mental wastage. Therefore, for a few but sweet moments, learn to halt the mind cheerfully and joyously from all its wanderings in the usual realms of objects, emotions, and thoughts. Taste the hush of a conscious inner quietude. Under such balmy quietude, the lacerated mind recovers and refills itself with a strange light and new power. In quietude, our mind can bring forth ideas, ideals, solutions, remedies, original thoughts, and endless creative ideas. Thus, rendered whole and therefore enriched and revived with divine silence, let our mind strive forth every day to serve or to slay for the world, which is nothing but our Lord, as perceived by us in our present plane of consciousness. At such moments of inner tranquility, the mind can reach out to profound thoughts which are ordinarily too high for us to readily grasp in the sweep of our personal understandings. When we are still and our mind is quiet, then alone the infinite resources of the total mind flow down to flood our within mind. When our actions are for the service of the world and not for personal gains, these ideas and plans, thus heard or seen in moments of our meditations, can be totally relied upon and confidently undertaken. And in their working out, we shall watch our life gathering a larger significance for ourselves and for others through us. This is brilliant, isn't it? If each one were like this, working upon ourselves, our own mind and intellect, trying to stop the waste of energy into irrelevant, inconsequential endings. And we, when we even feel, in fact, whenever we have done a good deed for others, just check your own mind, check yourself. There is a sense of deep satisfaction, fulfillment there. Even if it be fleeting, it's very nice. So that's clearly a sign that that's the true nature of yours trying to tell you, call upon me. So that's why here Gurudev says, when we hear, when our actions are for the service of the world and not for personal, these ideas and plans we may all have. In fact, when we are children, we all have these ambitions of doing great. We don't think of personal gains, but as we grow, we become that. So when these are heard and seen in moments of meditation, Gurudev is saying totally rely upon them and they should be confidently undertaken. Hmm? And in their working out is what happens. We see a life gathering larger significance for ourselves and for others through us. This brings about great fulfillment to our lives. Our experiences are enriched with this kind of work. This is Karma Yoga. To some, morning hours are the best for meditation, while for others, due to the very program of their life's duties, late evenings are perhaps more so. Some of us are more creative and original thinkers in the early hours of dawn. Others among us may feel calm and inspired perhaps at dusk. I have known some who prefer moonlit nights for their meditation. Some consider caves to be the best place for them to quieten their minds. To others, out in the field, under the open sky, seems to be the most conducive place to meditate. In fact, these external factors of time and place have really nothing to do with the practice of meditation. But students in their initial attempts receive a false psychological help from these factors. The scriptures too encourage them. Soon the seeker will come to realize that these prejudices and taboos of his earlier days were but his own idle phobia. Huh? Understand this. Anytime, anywhere, every time, everywhere is how it has to be. All our sadhana, meditations, you should be able to sit for meditation and get into meditation wherever you are. But initially, when we begin, then see whatever is conducive for you. So there are talks of early morning or particular, these are all props. You are allowed to use them. But later, you too will outgrow them. Therefore, it is encouraged, something like this. A prop is okay. But don't come to only rely on. You have to move further, dropping the prop. After discovering through trial and error method the exact hour and precise place where each one of us can most easily and effectively compose ourselves, let us systematically pursue the significant practice of listening to the silence of the mind or hearing the dynamic hush of the silent heart. Let us rest herein peacefully for 10 to 15 minutes. Let us learn to relax and retire from our worries and fears, anxieties and lusts, passions and pains. Let us persuade ourselves to be relaxed, happy, confident, and joyful, as an innocent child playing at the feet of its mother. There are many unintelligent students who, in their attempt to understand the significance of spiritual life, through mere book study, come to the hasty conclusion that the Vedanta technique of meditation cannot and will not help them in life. I have met a few who even vainly argue to prove that a man of meditation, practicing regularly, is an individual noted for sure failure in life. The consummate folly of such a feeling is the very cause for the ruin of Hinduism. In fact, it is a dynamic philosophy about showing man the sure way to live a glorious and successful life. Vedanta is not, in any sense of the term, a pessimistic negation of life. It is a healthy philosophy which plans the growth and happiness of man in his individual and communal living. It points out a way to go to the beyond, in and through life. To accuse that Vedanta negates life is the blabbering of a childish intelligence that has got confused and confounded in its wrong attempt to understand the philosophy through its mind and intellect, unprepared for the great task. In everyday life also, the greater the amount of concentration an individual can muster in himself, the greater is his share of success. Anyone who begins meditation in the right way will surely gain to a large extent. Again, as he progresses in meditation, he gains more and more ethical and more moral perfection in his devotion to the Lord, in his surrender to the Supreme, which definitely gives him a greater amount of intellectual poise and mental peace. Anyone in the world who invests his personality, which has thus grown rich in concentration, intellectual poise, mental peace, and integrity of character in any walk of it, must surely succeed and reach the realms beyond the ordinary purview of the average man. These are the characteristics common to every genius, whatever be his field of activity. So it's not empty, it's not, um, you know, just some imagination. Just understand this very clearly. Thus viewed, meditation becomes a true education, a secret preparation to face the world of changing circumstances and evanescent glories. Therefore, meditation can transform an ordinary man into an incomparable genius. The stories of the great rishis of the world tell us that they had nothing much to claim but their general education. Many of them had none of the circumstances to achieve anything spectacular. Yet they grew to such stature and won gratitude of all men of wisdom merely through meditation. Ultimately, through meditation alone, prophets and saints gained power and glory and became immortal men of wisdom. If one saint or sage of the past could thus raise himself above the average in his own generation, every one of us as human beings has the right to claim this privilege as our sacred heritage. Meditate and grow. There is no end to possible. How to meditate? Seat. Sit on a thin, soft cushion. Second, posture. It is preferable to sit in any comfortable pose you can conveniently manage. Vertebral column should be erect, hands interlocked and placed in the front, eyes softly closed, and gaze fixed on some object, a statue, a photograph, or the Om symbol placed before you with all your attention. Third, thought massage. After sitting on a comfortable seat and in the posture described above, relax the body and start massaging the various parts of the body mentally. The neck, shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, hands, chest, abdomen, back, thighs, calf muscles, and feet. This is something, if we all have done some kind of relaxation meditation or shavasana in yoga, we all know this technique. It is just so that you remove all the stress and forget about the body for some time while in meditation. Now the fourth, Om chanting by mouth. After thought massage, start chanting Om. Let the sound of the chanting rise like a fountain. Chant on. Let the Om vibrations grow, expand, and form an enveloping atmosphere around you. Let the Om vibrations unfold themselves into every widening ripples. Chant on vigorously, powerfully, and sincerely. Fifth, Om chanting with mind. After having thus chanted aloud, the next step is to chant Om silently in the mind. Then put a sudden stop to chanting as though someone has shouted the order, stop, to reach a thoughtless state of. The order to stop must come from within. If this is found to be difficult, as some sadhakas will find it so, you can chant louder and louder in the mind, and when you have reached the peak, slowly and steadily reduce the tone of this mental roar into just a mental chanting and reduce it further still into a mere mental whisper. The soft inner whisper of Om chanting may be allowed to drown and dissolve into a positive and perceptible silence within. Sixth, thoughtless state of mind. When you stop mental chanting and for a split moment, when you are in that thoughtless state, there are no thoughts in your mind, hold on to that state as long as you can. As soon as thoughts stem up from the silence, the peace and the silence of the thoughtless state of the mind is disturbed. Chant Om to enable you to retire again into the thoughtless state. This process may be repeated 3 times during one sitting. Never strain, be at ease, relax. So, very beautifully, in very small, short steps, how to meditate has been given to us. It is up to us now to put it to practice. For all of us who can start, can just do this. Now you may say that you already are practicing some other technique. What should I do? Should I do this and that? Do whatever helps you, takes you to that thoughtless state as soon as possible, and whatever it is that helps you stay there. The important thing is not the journey, whether you have come to Delhi from Mumbai via air flight, or you have taken the train, or you have come by bullock cart. The thing is, you have arrived, the destination is arriving at that place and enjoying that place. So doesn't matter, oh, I have learned another Om meditation. Now, which one should I do? One is, you have to experiment this, and by trial and error, you have to bring yourself to that state. Understand? Now we go on to the 10th chapter. And here, almost this is the concluding portion. Here, some small tips given by Gurudev. Let's see what that is. Tips for success. Never hurry. One should not, as it is this world, there is stress and strain. Let us not make meditation also another stressful thing. Oh, now I got to meditate. The whole idea is to release the stress, and that's why you are getting into meditation. Don't become stressful about it. Regularity and sincerity are the secrets of success. Progress in meditation is never achieved according to a program. Hurry will never take you anywhere except to the lunatic asylum. Proceed slowly and steadily. Allow the momentum of meditation to lift you into it. Remember, you are the recipient. You must learn to wait. How long we must have waited as a rock before the stone life evolved into a plant life. How long nature must have knocked at the plant in order to make it a living animal. How many millions of years it must have taken for the animal to become a man. Now at this moment, because of our rational intellect and mind, we have got the freedom to hasten our evolution to an extent. That does not mean you can dash into his palace chamber. Let that intellectual vanity get completely dried up in all of us. In all humbleness, let us learn to surrender. So don't think you have started. People think immediate results. And for 1 month, I have been doing. 1 month is hardly anything for the number of janmas we have sat without meditating, isn't it? So, like he says, Gurudev, don't think just this, this intellectual vanity is there, that we will just enter the chamber immediately. But we must surrender and regularly and sincerely practice. It is not a question of our dashing into it. Let it come and envelop us. We can never dash into sleep, can we? We prepare the ground for it and invoke sleep. Then sleep comes in its own rhythm and envelops us. A burning aspiration does not mean that in a hurry we try and dash into it. The anxiety to sleep is the burning aspiration of the waker to reach sleep. As he is tired and fatigued, he hastens to quieten himself in the silence of refreshing sleep. But remember, if he gets excited and anxious to sleep, he will never sleep. Everything created in nature is slow, steady, and continuous, except earthquakes and storms, which are destructive. The opening of the flower, the germination of the seed, the growth of the trees, the sunrise and moonrise, the sun and the moon setting, the high tide and the low tide, all are slow processes, though they are precisely timed. If you sit near the sea and watch, you will find how slowly and steadily they happen, how rhythmic it is. There is no jerk. It is not possible that for 6 days you live a sensuous life, and on the 7th day you dash into the presence of the Lord and say hi to him. That is not the way. Spiritual life is an attempt to hasten the evolution. It is not a call for revolution. There is no question of pulling down everything, burning and blasting it. Meditation is the inauguration of invocation. And this invoking is a slow, creative process to lift us from our present state of consciousness and lifestyle. Meditation is a process of tuning ourselves to it, but you have to wait. Only when you try to dash into it, the experience freaks you out. Wait patiently for it to descend into your experience. If it is not descending, there is no question of being impatient about it. It only means that the tuning is not complete. If your mind is loaded with dejections, disappointments, sorrows, and despairs, meditation and spiritual life are impossible. They cannot touch you. They cannot affect you even from a distance. Pessimism is the most dangerous attitude for a spiritual student. This idea is repeatedly declared and preached by all religions when they say you must have faith. Faith in the ultimate goodness, faith in the loving and all forgiving Lord. They are using positive language to indicate the attitude of hope and content, which the devotee must always maintain in himself. There is no need for you to despair. Religion is meant for the imperfect, not for the perfect. But the seeker who condemns himself for his imperfections is a fool. He does not know what he is doing. He is unintelligently meditating upon his own negative qualities, his own imperfections, and therefore he becomes more and more devilish in his imperfection. For as we meditate, so we become. Therefore, surrender your imperfections onto him as your richest treasure. Offer them all to him. This is the meaning of your offering fruits and flowers to your teacher. Flowers are a source of perfume. Perfume has fragrance, vasanas. When we offer a flower onto him, the symbolism is that we are trying to offer our vasanas at his altar. So too, we offer fruits, the fruits of actions, the fruits of earlier actions and thoughts that we have entertained in the past are the vasanas that are recorded in our unmanifest, the causal body, which come to be expressed in our mental zone as sattvika, the pure and noble, rajasika, the passionate and agitated, and tamasika, the dull and inactive moods. We must offer them all unto him in order to enter meditation. The idea behind this is to develop optimism, to get away from the feeling of helplessness that arises out of the memories of our past mistakes. The more mistakes we have committed in the past, the worse sinners we are, and therefore the more fit we are for the religion. Let us make ourselves available for the Lord to cure us. This attempt of surrender is surrender in the highest mood of meditation. So, as emotional person who surrenders unto him, the beloved Lord of his heart reaches the same mood of meditation. The intellectual one who understands that consciousness which illumines everything is the self turns away from our outer physical objects and inner mental thoughts, with these in search of that awareness which illumines everything. So it all boils down to what I said in the beginning. Keep yourself cheerful. Now that you have chosen your path, learn to surrender unto him. Why carry the load? Let him carry your cross. Thus surrendering the bundle of your futile memories of the past and worries of the future at his feet. Be hopeful, rich in faith, born out of understanding. Learn to smile away your sorrows. Be unaffected by the play of sattva, rajas, or tamas in you. Be relaxed, free of your inhibitions, hangover, or tensions in your mind. With such a cheerful mind, you can remodel your personality. Every time you sit down for meditation, go through all the processes. The posture, the thought massage, surrendering to the Lord, deep breathing, the mental chanting, and when you are sure that the mind's wanderings have ended, slowly silence the chanting in your own mind. All these preparations may take 10 to 15 minutes. The actual attempt at holding yourself in pure silence may be only for a split moment. It is right that it should be so. Never try to lengthen the experiencing the silence within. The attempt of the meditator is to add depth to the silence, not to add a longer duration to the silence experienced. If you try holding a longer duration of silence within, you will be suppressing your experience, which cannot contribute to an unfoldment. Every sitting cannot be a success. If anybody says that he is regularly having a successful meditation, he is telling a lie, or he is not engaged in meditation at all. Every day cannot be the same, and there are certain days every month when you will not get it at all. Yet, regularity and sincerity are the watchwords of the meditator, the pledge of the spiritual seeker. So, even though you're not in a mood, see that you sit down for meditation under all conditions, even when you are traveling. These 10 to 15 minutes are not yours, they belong to the Lord. This way, see, Gurudev is really motivating, inspiring. He's prescribed the method. Now it's up to us to simply follow and make a regular practice. He says this 10 minutes is of the Lord. Actually, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the Lord. We have come here and whatever the Lord provides, we are using freely, actually. The space, the oxygen we breathe, isn't the air that we breathe, everything. Whatever is given by the Lord already for all our survival. Regularity can be maintained even in modern times. Meditate in the early morning, because early morning is the time when no one will disturb you. If you do it in the evenings, then 1,000 disturbances can. If you are working late shifts at night, come home and sleep, and after the sleep, try to meditate. Your sleeping time is at night, and after the sleep, when you wake up fresh, that is your early dawn. Thus, meditation is not to be ordered by the clock on the wall or determined by the position of the sun in the sky. It is to depend upon the cheer and vigor of your mind. Thus, intelligently select a time when the least disturbance is possible and be regular in your attempts at meditation. The days when you're not in a meditative mood, on such days, do japa for a longer period of time. It is at such moments when the mind is in a righteous mood or in a total revolt that the mala becomes very helpful to the seeker. Let not any seeker throw his efforts in despair and run away from his meditation seat, even after a million failures to quieten the mind. These attempts, though apparently unrewarding, are slowly eating up into the delusion and widening the gateway to realization. Never give up, never despair. Strive on and on and on. Every effort you put forth is a step taken towards the truth. When tired, smile. When exhausted, rest. And then strive again. When dispirited, sing his glories. When totally disgusted, surrender to him. Help comes, help surely comes. And this is beautiful. Even after a million failures, it is like this. Nature is working its way quietly, silently. You have to allow for that to happen. Every seat of meditation, you may not see the direct, bright impact that you're going to see, but it's already working its way into clearing all the delusion of the past. But you do it for 5 days, you have made progress, you don't realize it. And you say, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. This way, do not despair. This is what he's telling all of us. The path of spiritual unfoldment is reserved for the wise heroes and not for the simple-minded, foolish cowards. Now and then you must assume a get tough stance with the mind. Do not yield easily. Continuously fight down the mind's rebellions. Even when you are losing, retreat, but still fight for every inch. Call up reinforcements from the Lord through your devotion and surrender. The sadhana must be continued till the achievement of realization of the flameless light, nirvana of consciousness. The Guru says to gain supreme experience through a total quietude of the mind intellect equipment, O sinless one, strive on till you reach the abode of peace, Brahman. Hmm? Having thus set the student on the path and having equipped the pilgrim with all knowledge, the teacher in the Upanishad says to the Sikh, Godspeed and good luck en route. May you pleasantly go beyond the kingdom of darkness into the light of lights, by whose light alone all other lights are lit up. Never hurry, have faith in the Lord and your teachers. Hasten slowly. Hari Om. With this, we conclude this book reading session, the manual of self unfoldment. The entire reading of the book is such an awakening. It is absolutely a preparatory for all of us who wish to study Vedanta in depth. And even if that is not the course, it has helped us understand and make our lives more meaningful, productive, and live a dynamic, enriching, fulfilling life. Let's keep going back to the passages that inspired us, motivated us. Read it again, because there will be moments when we forget, moments when our energies are low and we are caught up in some stress and crisis in life. Gather the book and quickly jump back on the path, because this is what, and from this is what we gain our inner strength, confidence, and the light, the vision, the direction, everything is given to us. With Gurudev's grace, Guru Parampara's blessings, it was nice to go through this book with all of you. And every time we read this book, there is something new we gather. So I wish you all the best. Gurudev's blessings be with you, and may you reach the pinnacle of what is mentioned in the Upanishad and what Gurudev has indicated, to that abode of Brahman in and through meditation. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.